This playthrough is rated M for mature.
Greetings and salutation, viewers. Vauldemare back here with more Hakuōki Stories of the Shinsengumi. In the last episode, we were faced with the choice to leave with Princess Sin. Well, not really, because we decided not to go. But she tried to get us to go because she said, I will protect you against these demons. And we were like, no, the Shinsengumi are my friends. I gotta stay. So we stayed, and then like 5 seconds afterwards, the demons attacked us, and the Shinsengumi tried to defend me. And they did by locking me in a room. And then when I landed in the room, I found a body, basically a body pillow of one of the MCs, Okita, who was playing with my feelings and causing the main character to get all heated up. And now we're dealing with this awkward situation. How will it go? Let's find out.
そんなに謝られるとかえって傷つくな。君に嫌われてるみたいで。
Hey, come on! It hurts me when you apologize so much. Makes me think you hate me or something. No, it's not that. I was just embarrassed. Okita, what did you just say? It would hurt him if he thought I hated him? What did he mean by that? But my question was drowned out by the noise of the battle outside.
外は大騒ぎだね。鬼が来てるんだって。
It's getting pretty serious out there. The demon showed up? Yes, that's right. I'd almost forgotten. I couldn't stay here.
本当は僕も出たいんだけどね。土方さんと山崎くんは近頃ますます過保護だから。
Yeah, I know. I want to go out there and fight too, but Hijikata and Yamazaki get pissed. I don't need one mom, let alone two.
でも近藤さんが出たんだよね。
Kondo's out there, right? Yes, but he's fighting one of the demons.
大丈夫。あの人はすごいんだ。僕なんかよりずっとね。
Nah, don't worry about him. He's an amazing swordsman, way better than me. Okita's eyes shone with admiration and respect for Kondo. There was no question that he trusted the man to win.
でもまあここまで来るようなら僕が相手をしようかな。
Well, if the demons get this far, then I'll get to fight him then. He grinned at me, the same grin I'd seen 1,000 times, but this time it felt lonely.
でも君も僕に近づくのはやめた方がいいよ。いいことないと思うから。
But listen, you ought to stay away from me, okay? I'm not good for you. Yamazaki appeared sometime later to tell us that the demons had retreated, just as Okita had predicted. I guess they didn't capture me. Good going, Shinsengumi. You beat him back. Although they were probably just fighting one dude. Who knows? It seemed like morning came altogether too early. I sighed, splashed my face with cold water to clear my wits, and headed for the common room. The captains and several other men were already there, including Inui and Yamazaki. Good morning. They nodded or mumbled return greetings, but their faces were universally dour after the late night's events. I heard Inui and Yamazaki mention Shimada's name, and edged over to listen in on their conversation.
島田君の様子はどうなんだい?
How's he doing?
打ちどころが悪くて気絶したようですが、怪我は内身程度で大したことはありません。今後のタイムにも特に支障はないでしょう。
Ah, the hit knocked him out, but aside from some bruises, he seems to be fine. He'll be back on duty soon. I sighed relief and felt some of the tension leave my neck. If Shimada had been seriously hurt guarding me.
ああ、島田君が君に謝ってくれと言っていて、役に立てず申し訳ない。
Oh, Shimada wanted to apologize to you for not doing a better job. What? I'm the one who should be apologizing to him. I felt the conversation in the room ebb and turned to see Kondo walking through the door. He was usually calm and collected, but today his face was especially stern. Something was wrong. What?
いやあ、何かあったのかい? もともといかつい顔なのに、それじゃ迫力満点だ。
Uh-oh, what's happening? You've got a scary enough face to begin with, Kondo. Now you're just terrifying.
ほら、怖がってるじゃないか。
Look, you're even scaring her. No, I'm not scared. I waved my hands desperately, and the men laughed.
それはすまなかった。
Sorry about that. He gave me a tight grin, but then looked down, his face grim. Please, just tell us what happened. Is it bad?
すぐにわかることだから伝えておこ
う。Well, you'll find out soon enough, I suppose. He wasn't just talking to me anymore. The rest of the men moved closer to hear what he had to say.
西本願寺から
これ以上新選組がここにいるのは困ると言ってきた。
Nishi Hongwanji doesn't want the Shinsengumi here anymore.
それはつまり我々にここから出ていけということですか？
They're telling us to leave, you mean?
いや、さすがにそこまで直接的な物言いではなかったが。
Well, they didn't say that in so many words, but yes.
いつかはそうなるんじゃないかと思ってはいたがね。いやはや、しかし困ったね。
I had a feeling that day would come eventually. Now that it's here, what should we do?
The monks at the Nishi Hongwanji temple were imperialists and allies of the Choju. They'd never been fond of the Shinsengumi, but we decided to force our way into their temple anyway. It was no surprise they wanted us out. I'd finally begun to feel like the temple was my home. On a more practical level as well, it was far more convenient for our work in Kyoto. I was sure I wasn't the only one who felt that way.
それにしても急な話ですね。まさか
This is awfully sudden.
昨日
Do you
の
think
騒
last
ぎが
night's
原因
incidents
です。
triggered this? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt him. Proceed.
ここで騒ぎを起こしては困るらしい。
I don't have to think I know. They don't want fighting on the temple grounds.
察するに長州か薩摩、そのあたりからも言われているのだろうな。
I'm sure someone else had a hand in this too. Chosu, maybe, or Satsuma. The fight the night before had only happened because of me. I'm sorry, this is all my fault.
そうではないさ。もともと無理難題を言ってここに押しかけたのは我々なんだからな。
Not true. We came to this temple and forced them to yield to our admittedly unreasonable demands.
でもどうするのですか？豚書移転ともなるとまた候補地選びからやり直しになります。
But what are we gonna do? If we have to move, then we need to start looking for a new location.
それがな、移転先の敷地も豚書も全部西本願寺が持ってくれるそうだ。
Actually, we don't. We'll be provided with a new site, courtesy of the Nishi Hongwanji Temple.
おお、そりゃすごい。よっぽど出て行ってほしいのですな。
That's awfully generous. They must really want us gone.
まあ、ここは素直に受け取っておいた方がいいだろう。また忙しくなるぞ。
Yes, on both counts, which is why I decided to accept their offer. Things are gonna get busy around here soon. A plot of land was purchased and a new compound built, all paid for by the Nishi Hongwanji Temple. It became the third headquarters of the Shinsengumi, the Fudodo village location. Headquarters 3. The third Shinsengumi compound was located in the village of Fudodo. It's probably pronounced differently, but whatever. By the time summer came, the Shinsengumi had left Nishi Hongwanji, where they had spent more than 2 years. November 1867. A gust of wind stripped some of the last stubborn leaves from the trees and sent them skittering across the Kyoto streets. It was cold and bit into me through my clothing, and I shivered. It's almost winter, isn't it?
ああ、すっかり風が冷たくなったからな。
Yeah, the wind's gotten pretty cold lately.
けどよ、今は昼だからまだマシな方だぜ。寒い夜の巡察がどれだけ辛いかというとな。
Still, we don't have it too bad during the day. I can't imagine how cold it gets for the night guys. It was November and the temperature was definitely dropping, although it had yet to get cold enough for us to see our breath during patrol. Ha!
ひょっとして寒いのか？なんなら手でもつないでやろうか？
Are your hands cold? Would you like me to hold them? I'm not that cold. I'll be fine. Oh! I noticed someone walking towards us.
ようつうかさ何巡察サボって白昼の大通りで口説いたりしてんだよ。
Hey, Hinata. Sano. Hey, Hinata. Sano, what do you think you're doing? You're supposed to be working, not screwing off and hitting on poor defenseless girls on the street.
バカ、お前と一緒にすんな。俺は寒そうだから純粋に好意でだな。
Hey, not everyone's a gigolo like you. She looks cold. I'm just trying to be a gentleman. Oh, hello, Nagakura. Nagakura's patrol took him on a different route than ours. It was only luck that we'd happened to meet in one of the few places they overlapped. Their bickering might have looked odd to a passerby, but I knew for the sign of deep friendship that it was.
そんなニヤニヤしてどうかしたか?
What's up? Why are you grinning like that?
そりゃ新八がいつも通りの抜けた面さらしてるからに決まってるだろう。
Probably thinks your face is funny, Shinpachi. You really ought to do something about that. No, it's just, well, I was like remembering when we met up like this before, like the time I met Kairu. I was with Okita and Hisuke then, though. Oh. More than 6 months had passed since Saito and Hisuke had left to join the Guardians of the Imperial Tomb. Harada and Shinpachi's faces turned grim as I trailed off. I shook my head, hoping vainly to cast off unpleasant thoughts. I just mean that there have been so much going on lately. Makes me nostalgic.
まあ、確かにここんとこ世間もうちも大きく動きがあってな。
The Shinsengumi has changed. Hell, so has the rest of the world. Yes, like the shogunate handing power over to the imperial court. Nagakura nodded as I spoke, with the air of a pleased teacher encouraging a student.
そうだな。じゃあまず、伊藤派が分離して新選組にどんな影響が出たかわかるか?
Yes, very good. Now, do you know how the loss of Ito and his followers affected the Shinsengumi? Well, we have fewer members now.
半分正解。確かに人は減った。それも最近の幕府寄りな新選組に異を唱える尊王派の連中がごっそりとな。
You're half right. True, we lost some of our men. Those who were staunch imperialists were the first to leave.
ってことはまあ、残ったやつのほとんどは幕府優先の砂漠派ってことになるわけだ。全員がそうじゃないけどな。
That meant that most of the guys who stayed were loyalists. Not all of them, though.
なあ。こないだ近藤さんが直参になって、俺たちも幕臣になることが決まった時、揉めたやつがいたこと覚えてねえか?
Yeah, you remember when Kondo got promoted into direct service to the shogun? We all became shogunate vassals, and everyone was happy about that. That was right around the time we moved to Fudoto Village. Several more men had wanted to leave. Some of them had been given permission to go, but others were told that wasn't an option and were forced into the Fury Corps. Kondo's promotion had changed the Shinsengumi's relationship with the shogun. Where before we'd only been philosophically aligned with the shogun, now we answered directly to him. For some people, that was a serious problem. How do you guys feel about being vassals of the shogun?
俺らは立場とかって苦手だからな。
I'm not really a fan.
まあな。幕府の家来になるために今まで戦ってきたわけじゃねえし。
Yeah, I didn't do all this work just so I could be a retainer for the shogun. Neither of them was happy with it. Then Nagakura especially. He kept walking for a few blocks, talking about this and that, before Harada yawned quietly.
新八の小難しい話のせいで眠い。お前も飽きたら飽きたって言っていいんだぞ。
Your droning is putting me to sleep, Shinpachi. You can tell him to shut up too if he's boring you, you know. Oh, no, I'm fine. I like listening to Nagakura talk about things.
佐野と違って偉いね。じゃあ続きでもするか。
You see, Sano, she's a good girl, unlike you. Now, shall we continue?
先々月に起きた明治天皇の即位と先月の大政奉還についてだな。
What do you know about the Meiji's Emperor's ascension 2 months ago and the restoration of the imperial rule last month? Meiji Emperor ascended to the throne in 1867 after the death of Emperor Kome. Ah, the Meiji period's pretty much here. I mean, it's not official yet, but it's pretty much right around the corner where all the official changes occur. Restoration of imperial rule. The political events in which the shogun Yoshinobu Tokugawa returned all sovereign powers to the Meiji Emperor. Yep, the Meiji era has begun. Well, the restoration was when the Tokugawa shogunate returned power to the government to the emperor, right? I don't really know much about it.
そう。幕府を潰すことなく朝廷と一本化させようっていう土佐の坂本龍馬ってやつが主導した意見だ。
Well, you know enough. That's pretty much it. A man named Ryoma Sakamoto from the Tosu domain was the one who figured out a way for the empire to regain power without destroying the shogunate. Ryoma Sakamoto, a Ronin for Tosa who negotiated the alliance between Satsuma and Chozu for the purposes of overthrowing the Tokugawa shogunate. He played a crucial part in restoring imperial rule. Unfortunately, Nagakura continued. In doing so, he managed to anger both the loyalist and imperial factions and earned the enmity of both.
ともあれ、この大政奉還で徳川は権力を失ったってことになる。
At any rate, the restoration means that the Tokugawa has lost all real authority. At least that's the official story.
将軍はそのまんまだしな。なんか薩摩とかがいろいろ動いてるらしいが、急に世間が変わるわけでもないさ。
In reality, he's keeping a lot of his power. The government just can't function without someone to hold the reins. That Satsuma are up to something too, and we don't know what. Still, the world's not going to change overnight. I see. As I looked around the city, it seemed like he had a point. Nothing much seemed to have changed. Inns were still bustling with travelers, tea shops were still smelling delicious. Life continued just as it always had, regardless of what the shogun was or wasn't doing. The city might look the same as it always had, but time flowed on, regardless, and a great wave was coming that would carry all of us away. I looked up at Nagakura, and something occurred to me that I hadn't thought of before. Before I realized what I was doing, I'd already opened my mouth. I didn't realize you were so smart, Nagakura. You know a lot about politics.
一つ聞いていいか?
Didn't realize. Wait, what did you think of me?
俺のこと。
That's kind of funny. He does seem like the jock of the group. There was a man named Ryoma Sakamoto. He was a Ronin from the Tozu domain and had allied himself with the Satsuma and Chozu domains as well. For a time, the Kyoto Judiciary Commissioner, Mimi Waragumi, I think that's how you say it, and even the Shinsengumi were desperate to find him. Mima Waragumi, a civilian police force similar to the Shinsengumi, Mima Waragumi was instead composed of the sons of shogunate vassals and was therefore somewhat higher ranking. They were charged with protecting the imperial estate in the Ninjo Castle area in Kyoto. After his orchestrations of the restoration of imperial rule, however, orders were passed down to leave him alone. I only had a general idea of who he was and what he'd done, but even I had figured out that he was an important person, so when I heard Inoue mention him, I listened.
その坂本龍馬だが暗殺されたらしい。
Ryoma Sakamoto has been assassinated.
マジかよ、ゲンさん。一体誰がやったのか話は出てるのか?
You serious, Gen? Do they know who did it?
坂本は敵が多いしな。倒幕派か砂漠派か。個人的な恨みなら紀州の三浦ってやつも揉めてたよな。
Sakamoto had a lot of enemies. Could have been imperialist or loyalist. Hell, could have been just personal in many cases. My money's on Miru of Kishu. Kishu, also known as the Ki domain or the Wakayama domain. It's one of the three main branches of the Tokugawa clan.
実は僕らが一番疑われてるんじゃ。どうせ殺されんなら僕が切っておけばよかったな。
You think maybe they're looking at us for it? Damn, if the bastards was gonna get killed anyway, should have done him. I should have done him.
おいおい、おめえのは冗談に聞こえねえよ。つうか、俺らは手出すなって言われてただろうが。
That's not very funny coming from you. In fact, weren't we specifically told to leave him alone? I never met Sakamoto. I barely knew who he was, but I felt somehow that his death would shake the country to its core. Inoue frowned.
知っての通り、政治的な判断もあるし、私たちは近藤さんから坂本龍馬に手を出さないよう加盟されている。
As you all know, there was a decision made from above, and Kondo was ordered to leave Ryoma Sakamoto alone.
だけど世間はそう見てくれないようだね。現場に新選組大使の鞘が落ちていたらしい。今、取り調べの問い合わせが来ているよ。
Unfortunately, the rest of the country is unlikely to see it that way. A scabbard belonging to a member of the Shinsengumi was found at the scene of his death. There has been a request for an official inquiry.
A scabbard? Is that really enough evidence?
どう考えても単なる言いがかりだろうよ。で、誰の鞘だって言ってるんだ?
If it isn't, I'm sure they'll just fabricate more. It's obviously a ruse. Who are they saying it belonged to anyway?
それがな、あんたなんだ、原田君。
Actually, they say it was yours, Harada.
What? Of all the people to try and frame for murder, Harada?
なんだ、佐野さんが切ったんだ。僕も呼んでほしかったな。
Really, Sano? Damn, wish you'd brought me with you.
バカ言え。問題の俺の鞘はここにあるんだぜ。話にもならないな。
Knock it off, Okita. Besides, my scabbard's right here. This is idiotic. He threw up his hands in exasperation. Inoue smiled faintly and nodded.
私もみんなも最初から疑ってないよ。だが世間が信じてくれるかわからんのが困るな。
I don't suspect you, and neither does anyone else here. Unfortunately, I doubt the rest of the nation will extend you the same courtesy.
先方も犯人を絞りきれないのだろうね。紀州藩の三浦九太郎が新選組に依頼して暗殺したって話もあったよ。
I imagine they're having trouble determining the real culprit. There was talk that Kyutaro Miru from Kishu asked the Shinsengumi to kill Ryoma.
Kyutaro Miura, a loyalist from the Kishu domain. He is not on good terms with Ryoma Sakamoto. Was not on good terms because Sakamoto is dead. Miura. That was the man Nagakura had mentioned. He had some sort of personal quarrel with Sakamoto, which made him a suspect.
新選組の仕業にしたいやつもいるだろうしな。つっても、俺たちが知らない以上、新選組が手を下したわけねえよ。
I'm sure there's plenty of people who'd love to pin this one on the Shinsengumi, but unless someone did it and lied about it, there's no way it was us.
三男さんが勝手に動いたんだとしたら別ですけどね。
Unless Sanan decided to do a little work off the books. The room fell silent.
三男さんは大丈夫なのか。俺らから見ても最近の夜の巡察はやり方がひでえぜ。
How is Sanan these days? Our reputation is grisly enough, but the rumors I've been hearing about the night patrol are even worse. It was true that Sanan had been acting stranger and stranger, although I didn't want to believe it. I had to admit it wasn't that difficult to imagine him doing something like that. When I passed him on occasion in the hallways, his eyes were dry and thirsty, as if he was always hungry for blood.
俺らで気をつけるしかねえよ。羅刹隊の存在を表に出すわけにはいかねえし。
We'll have to be careful then. We can't let people learn about the Furies.
その件についてだが。
About it.
あ、近藤さんと土方さん。
Oh, hey, Kondo. Hichikata. Whoa!
サイドなんでここにいんだよ
Saito, what the hell are you doing here? What the hell is Saito doing here? And what is up with all this politic talks? I thought we were talking about a girl and demons and her trying to find out about her father, but apparently that's not the case. But we'll have to keep exploring. Perhaps the politics have something to do with the demons more in depthly than we realize. And what is up with the situation around here? And is Ryo Sakamoto and all this crap talk really important? We'll find out next time on Hakuōki, Stories of the Shinsengumi. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next episode.